It's story time.
Puddle Lane, Jeremy Mouse and Mr Puffle by Sheila McCullagh. The wide-awake mice were toy mice in Mr Wide-awake's toy shop. One evening, a magician came into the shop. He didn't see the wide-awake mice, but he spilt some magic dust all over them. That night, when the moon shone down, the wide-awake mice came alive. They escaped from the shop through a hole under the door and ran across the square to the market. They climbed up a post and found a safe place to live on a shelf under the roof. This story tells you about what happened to Jeremy Mouse when he met Mr Puffle. Jeremy Mouse woke up. It was still dark in the shadows under the roof, but the sun was shining down on the square outside the market building. Jeremy went to the edge of the shelf and looked down into the market below. There were people in the market. They had set up tables all around the wall and piled the tables with good things to eat. Jeremy felt very hungry. He was just going to climb down a post when someone behind him said, "Who are you? And whatever are you doing in those clothes?" Jeremy looked up. He saw a mouse looking out of a hole over his head. "I'm Jeremy," he said. "I always wear clothes. I'm a wide-awake mouse from Mr Wide-awake's toy shop." The little mouse climbed down onto the shelf beside Jeremy. "You won't be wide-awake very long if you wear things like that," he said. "You'll never be able to run fast enough if Tomcat sees you." Jeremy looked down at his clothes. "Do you think I should take them off?" he said. "I should," said the little mouse. "Tomcat could catch hold of them, and then where would you be?" "I don't know," said Jeremy. "Where would I be?" "I'll tell you," said the mouse. "You'd be inside Tomcat before you could squeak twice. I'm Chestnut Mouse, and I know." Jeremy pulled off his clothes. "It does feel better without them," he said. "It's much safer," said Chestnut. "Do you live here?" asked Jeremy. "No," said Chestnut. "I live in the magician's garden at the end of Puddle Lane, but I always come here on Fridays. They have cheese and nuts in the market on Fridays. Come and see." Jeremy looked down. He looked at one of the tables. There was a big cheese at one end of the table and a basket of nuts at the other end. Jeremy felt very hungry, and he could smell lovely smells coming up from the market below. Chestnut ran down a post, and Jeremy followed him. "Keep close to me," whispered Chestnut. "It can be dangerous down here." He led the way along by the wall and under the table. Jeremy saw two big feet standing not far away. Jeremy didn't know it, but those two big feet belonged to Mr Puffle. Mr Puffle lived in Puddle Lane. Mr Puffle was buying some cheese. The man at the table cut off a big slice of cheese for Mr Puffle. A crumb of cheese broke off. It rolled off the table and fell on Mr Puffle's foot. Mr Puffle's foot was close to Jeremy's nose. Jeremy smelt the cheese. He ran up onto Mr Puffle's foot and began to eat it. Mr Puffle looked down and saw Jeremy Mouse on his shoe. Mr Puffle gave a great shout. Jeremy was very frightened. He hid under Mr Puffle's trouser leg. Mr Puffle gave another shout. "There's a mouse on my foot! There's a mouse on my foot!" he cried. "He's hiding under my trousers!" Mr Puffle hopped about on one foot, waving his other foot in the air. Jeremy was very frightened. He saw Mr Puffle's leg. He thought Mr Puffle's leg looked just like a post, so he ran up the leg to Mr Puffle's knee. Mr Puffle gave another great shout. "It's run up my leg!" he cried. "It's run up my leg!" "Shake your leg!" cried the man with the cheese. "Shake your leg hard!" So Mr Puffle hopped about on one foot, shaking his other leg. Mr Puffle shook so hard that Jeremy had to let go. He fell down Mr Puffle's leg and landed on his shoe. Mr Puffle saw Jeremy Mouse on his shoe. He gave a great kick. Jeremy flew. He flew through the air and landed on top of the low wall around the market. As quick as a flash, Jeremy ran up the post. He hid in the dark on the shelf. "What are you doing, Jeremy?" said a voice behind him. Jeremy looked around. It was Grandmother Mouse. "I was hungry," said Jeremy. "I went down to get something to eat. It was very exciting." "I expect it was," said Grandmother Mouse. "A bit too exciting. We'll go down tonight when the people have gone. That's the best time for a mouse to be in the market." The end.